Bob Surratt in the Fox 32 newsroom. We want to take you right to the press conference now outside the courtroom where Drew Peterson was sentenced today to 38 years in prison. The defense talking to the media.
I agree with that. Despite that, he's got some very viable issues. We all have some very viable issues. We're putting our big boy pants on. We're going to go at these issues, and we're going to be back here. We're confident of that.
Pooch, you had a question. What was your question before you forgot?
Well, what did you think of the moment when he started with that outburst and then she stood up in response?
Well, I think the outburst was because he has told them continuously that he wasn't responsible for anything that occurred with Kathy. Then they had that little colloquy between the two of them, and the judge properly removed the person. And I think that it's just the pent-up anger over a number of years. They've been on him. You know, he mentioned how they were when he was married to Kathleen. He mentioned how Kathleen grew up. All of a sudden now her family is coming to her aid when they ignored her for so many years, and it's something that bothered him.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was going to great lengths to blame everybody but himself.
Because he didn't do anything, Greg.
Yeah.
Ask yourself how you would feel if you didn't do anything. They changed the rules to convict you. They changed the evidence. In this case, they brought in paid experts to redo autopsies to say what they wanted. They changed everything. How would you feel if you were railroaded? Especially when you're somebody who has defended the Constitution as a police officer and served and protected the public, now being faced with that same system coming up and biting them in the butt.
What rules have they changed, Steve? They didn't end up using.
Well, they changed the appellate rules. They changed.
By wrongdoing.
They did change the rules.
They changed the appellate rules to allow the appeal to go.
What did?
So much for my free dinner again.
He's got the stakes in there.
They did change rules, and they changed. What about the privilege rules? Harry Smith, he's absolutely right. Someone ought to go after Harry Smith.
On the case, right?
But that's not the law. That's not the law. It was privilege. The judge ruled, Dan, the judge ruled that those statements were privileged, and Joel Brodsky said, I don't care if they're privileged, I'm putting them in. They're privileged. The rule applies. The rule should have been followed.
Is that going to be an appellate issue?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Of course. It's a big appellate issue.
And all of us should be scared if they start whittling away those issues. What about when you tell your attorney something?
I hope they can come forward like he did.
Well, you don't hope they can come forward. Anything else?
That's it.
You said 2 years. What does that mean?
It'll take 2 years for an appeal. Right.
Do you believe the jury system?
That's the scene in Joliet outside the Will County Courthouse. Drew Peterson sentenced today to 38 years in prison. You heard the defense lawyers mention 2 years for an appeal process. A bizarre afternoon in court. Peterson shouted during his sentencing hearing that he did not kill his wife, Kathleen Savio. Normally the defendant talks from the table, but Peterson insisted on going to the stand. And when he did that, someone in the courtroom shouted back, yes, you did kill, and that person was hauled out. Peterson's request for a new trial was denied earlier. More later, right here on Fox 32 and myfoxchicago.com.